everyone. I'm Jenna Schulman. I am a college counselor right in Florham Park, down the road from FDU Florham. So I think you're my closest school that I'm spotlighting, which is super exciting. I have a lot of people from FDU Florham right now, and TNAC campus maybe too. So no one really knows that FDU has 4 campuses. So I posted that on my Instagram page today of all the locations of Fairleigh Dickinson, which I think is a cool fact. But I'm going to have Dennis Green, who is an admissions counselor, kick off the meeting. And then we have some students here and some faculty experts to talk a little bit more about the business school. And without further ado, I'll have Dennis turn it over.
Thank you, Jenna. So I'm Dennis Green. I'm the Associate Director of Admissions at the Admissions Office at FDU. Today, we're going to give you an overview of the university as a whole. We'll talk about both our Florham and our metropolitan campus, so you can ultimately see the differences. We're really going to allow you to get that student perspective. So I have 2 students with me as well from each campus to really talk about their experience and why they chose FDU and why they love it so much. And then we also have some amazing individuals from our Silverman College of Business who are going to talk about placements and the College of Business in general. So we're really excited and we want to go ahead and get started. But before I do so, Matt and Christina, do you want to introduce yourselves really quick? Tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Sure. I'll go first if that's fine. My name's Matt. I'm a senior theater arts major with a concentration in musical theater and a minor in digital marketing at the FDU Florham campus. And I have been involved in the honors program, Greek life, the drama club on campus, as well as study abroad. So I sort of know a few different things. And I also work as an orientation leader over the summer.
So hi guys, I'm Kristen. I'm a junior computer science student at the Metro campus. I concentrate in cybersecurity and mathematics. I'm a commuter, so I live 10 minutes away from the campus. So if you have any questions about commuting or STEM majors, feel free to ask me.
Perfect. And Mary and Pat, do you want to introduce yourselves really quick?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Mary Sakin. I'm the Executive Director of Placement and Outreach for the Silverman College of Business. My job is to help our business students become career ready and get fabulous internships and then jobs when they graduate.
Hi, everyone. I'm Pat Wire. I'm a manager in placement and outreach at the Silverman College of Business, and I work with Mary. I'm part of her team.
Excellent. So we have a good mix of people here, so we'll be able to answer a lot of your questions as we go through the presentation. So let's go ahead and get started. I do want to give you just some general information on the university. Like Jenna had already mentioned, we do have 4 campuses. So in the state of New Jersey, we are considered the largest private university. So there's a lot of assets to that. You're going to have a lot of research opportunities, a lot of career development opportunities with internships, job placements, study abroad's a big deal at FDU as well. So you have a lot of these big university features, but we really pride ourselves on having that small college feel at the same time. So I always like to say it's the best of both worlds. So you're going to have small class averages. Our average at the Florham campus and at our metropolitan campus is around 14 to 16. That's our average that you'll see in a typical classroom. And then as you go into your upperclassmen years, you might have a class with maybe 5 or maybe 4 people in it. And we really try to top off all of our courses, especially in the beginning with your intro-level courses at around 35. So you're never going to have a huge lecture hall that you might see on TV or in the movies. So keep that in mind. But overall, we have our 4 campuses. We have one in Teaneck, New Jersey, which is about 45 minutes or so from Florham Park. And then we have our Madison Florham campus as well. Teaneck's going to be more of that, I like to say, that city vibe, more fast-paced, more modern buildings, whereas our Madison Florham campus is going to have more of that liberal arts kind of setting of a college and a more of a small town setting. Our 2 international campuses are very popular among our students. We have a campus over in England. It's about an hour northwest of London. It's an amazing, beautiful campus, and I'm going to have Matt talk a little bit about it in a few seconds. But it's for our traditional study abroad opportunities. And then we have a campus over in Vancouver, Canada. It's a full running campus. but it still is available for our New Jersey students to take advantage of with study abroad. So you can kind of see here in our stats that we have a lot of students that go abroad. The number increases, and it's really something that our professors and faculty and staff, they really encourage that within your 4 years. It's something we really want you to take advantage of. And being a global university that we are, going abroad, working with different cultures and populations, mainly just getting off of campus and getting your foot in the door with different companies, that's the main focus and mission of FDU. We want you to be able to go out into the world and really start using that experience and really start working with different people. So study abroad is a great way to do that. I do want to just point out a few other facts. There's lots of clubs and organizations. So Matt and Kristen, why don't you tell us a few of the clubs that you're involved in? Matt, you go first.
Sure. So I'm currently involved in Fairleigh Dramatics, which is the drama club on the Florham campus. And that puts on a show each fall semester. And they also work with different fundraising in the spring semester as well. And I'm also involved in the Florham Programming Committee, which is the main programming event committee at FDU Florham. And they put on a lot of the events such as Devil Days at the beginning of the fall semester, and a lot of the large scale events that we see throughout both semesters.
So I am part of a program called Sands of Time. It's on the Metro campus. They deal with experiential trips like seeing museums and seeing the orchestras, and it's free. So students choose which trips they like to go on, and if they get selected or if there's enough tickets, of course you can go. Sometimes they take us out of state like Baltimore or Washington, D.C. And it's a great experience to get out the campus and actually see our neighboring cities and our regions. I'm also part of the Women's Engineering Club. STEM major, it's a lot less women and definitely a lot less women of color. So I join a bunch of girls and we talk a lot about what we go through and being with STEM majors, engineering or computer science. And we also have a lot of scholarship opportunities, so a lot of fun.
Excellent, excellent. And if one of you will have, Kristen, why don't you tell us? Tell us about the club fair. How do you get involved with all these clubs?
Oh yeah, so usually in the beginning of the year, which would usually be the fall semester, we have a big event on Commencement Green. It's like a large grass area where a bunch of clubs, they have their tables set up and they have a bunch of activities and interactions, and you get to meet so many cool people, and it's kind of like speed dating. So you go to each table and you see the different information of each club, and they have a lot of games and stuff. Yeah, so you get to see everything in one full scope, and it's usually how I met a lot of people and joined and saw many of the clubs that I was interested in.
Excellent, yes.
Dennis, we have 2 questions in the chat.
Yeah, let me double check and see what the questions are. Is the TNIC the only campus that has an ASD program? I'm not sure what ASD is. So if
the Admitted Students Day, that's what I thought.
Maybe, yeah, that's what I was thinking too. If that's what the question was, for Admitted Students Day, that's available on both of our campuses. So they are individual programs based off the
Allie,
campus.
can you type in what you mean by that? Okay.
Yes, so we do have a Compass program. Our Compass program is a specialty program that works with students on the autism spectrum. It's a program that you do have to apply for and get admitted to. So you get admitted to FDU first, and then you can apply to our Compass program. But again, it's available on both of our campuses. It provides a lot of one-on-one transitioning and one-on-one just support during your college career. So that's an excellent question. And then another question was, the Florham in Metro is Florham campus in Madison, Metro, and TNIC. That is something that we often get confused about a lot too. A lot of people have that question. So our Florham campus is in Madison. Our metropolitan campus is in TNIC. So Florham Park, Madison, same area, city, Florham campus, metropolitan, more city. So that's going to be in our TNIC campus, which is more of that city campus overall. Perfect. Oh, and how many commuters do you have? That is a good question. And in our next slide, we're going to talk about the differences a little bit more with our two campuses with commuters and residents. I do just want to point out, Mary, we're going to talk about placements in just a second. So I do want to just point the audience to the idea that we really pride ourselves on providing you that support that you need to get the job after graduation. And Mary Sakin's going to talk a little bit more about all those partnerships and everything that we have to prepare you for after FDU. So I do want to point out this an overall map of New Jersey. You can kind of see where the two campuses are in relation to each other. And then you can see some stats. So our Metro campus and our Florham campus are different in a couple of ways, sports being one. Our Metropolitan campus has Division I sports. So if you're interested in D1 sports where there's athletic scholarships available, our Metropolitan campus is going to be a good fit for you. However, if you're interested in Division III sports, our Florham campus is going to be a good fit for you. So you kind of have to weigh your options and figure out which campus is going to fit best for you based off of what your goals are. So keep that in mind. So, our Division I campus, for example, they have track and field over there, and they also have bowling and fencing. Those are a few popular sports over there. But over at our Florham campus, we have football. That's another big sport that's only over at our Florham campus. So you kind of just have to do your homework, weigh your options, talk to the coaches to find your best match. You're going to see that our Metro campus is also a little bit bigger with student population. About 3,000 or so undergraduate students there, larger graduate population too. Whereas over at our Florham campus, it's going to be a little bit smaller. You're going to have about 2,700 students and the undergraduate population and a little under 1,000 graduate students. All right. But again, keep in mind, our classes are going to be small. So while you might be at a school with a lot of students, average class size is around 14 to 16, and we try to top it off at 35. So keep that in mind. All of our courses are taught by professors. That's another big asset. So you're not going to have a graduate assistant or a teaching assistant actually teaching your courses. So that's another big deal for FDU when compared to other larger schools of our size. And then to answer the question, commuter population, it really just varies on the campus. Our Florham campus is going to be that residential campus. About 75 to 80% of students are going to be living on campus for all 4 years. All right, so that's going to be more of the campus if you're looking for that traditional college residential experience. Whereas our Metro campus has the same residential, same campus life opportunities. However, there's about a 50-50 split. There's going to be 50% of students will be living on campus for all 4 years, 50% that'll be commuting on a daily basis. All right, so you just have to weigh your options there. But again, you can see 70 plus clubs on each campus just based off of student interest overall. So this is a slide I do want to just pick on our two students again really quick and ask them why they chose their campus. So Matt, why did you choose the Florham campus?
So I had actually never heard of FDU before applying. I'm originally from Connecticut, so FDU is sort of out of my spectrum of schools that I knew about, but my high school English teacher actually went to FDU Florham and graduated from there and recommended the school to me. So I ended up checking it out. And as soon as I went on tour, I saw that I was really interested in that sort of closed campus, picturesque college experience, and the Florham campus had that for me.
Right, I can actually relate to Matt. I'm from New York City, so New Jersey is actually very new to me, and I never thought I'd go to college in New Jersey, but FDU was very close to my home, so big factor was commuting and convenience of how close the Metropolitan campus was from my house. Plus, they had the major that I wanted to study, and they had the concentration I wanted to. So, and plus, because I'm a city girl, I really like the feel of the Metropolitan campus because even though inside the campus it's more quiet and more peaceful, there's a lot of resources around the campus that you can just walk to. So, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And did either one of you consider the other campus during your time of your college search?
Yeah. Too far.
No. The thing with you and the thing with Matt and Kristen is they have very certain majors that fit really well with that campus. So that brings up the next point I wanted to bring up. academics. So while the university overall has most majors and programs on both campuses, there's a select few that are on one campus over the other. So for example, our Florham campus has all of our School of the Arts. So you're going to be seeing theater, you're going to be seeing film, animation, graphic design, creative writing. These are all programs that are only housed at Florham. So Matt, for example, being a theater major, picked the right campus because his program is located there. It wouldn't be located over at Metro. Whereas Metro is going to have a lot of the engineering, a lot of our STEM majors, a lot of focus on that. So Kristen, you picked the right campus because it has more of that STEM focus over there with especially engineering and computer science. All right. And then we're going to talk a little bit about our business program, and that's a program that's a perfect example of being on both campuses, where if either campus you choose, you're going to be getting an amazing academic experience through that college. All right. I do want to just point out our sports again here, just so you can get a view of the sports that we have to offer. Like I said, a lot of sports are same kind of sports on both campuses. There's just a few that are on a different division. So like swimming and football, those are big sports that are only at Florham, whereas Metro is going to have the track and field as well as bowling and fencing, a few listed there. So you can always refer to that. With D1 sports, you always want to get in touch with your coach as soon as possible. So probably early on, that way they can get you on their radar, especially when considering you for sports scholarships. Whereas Florham, you have a little bit more time, but you can still talk to the coaches as soon as you're ready. And most of you who are on this call, you are probably from the New York Metro area, so you kind of understand that this is an amazing location, and for many reasons, we have such easy access to New York City. So whether it's going into the city for fun or for more of a professional nature, you're going to have it right in your backyard. And even New Jersey itself, the Madison area, the Hackensack area, there are so many headquarters in this area for companies that so many students take advantage of what's literally a couple miles from our campus. So Pfizer, for example, I know Mary, you'll talk all about Pfizer in a second, but Pfizer is literally down the road from our Madison campus. The New York Jets is down the road. So you have these companies that are there, but then we have a lot of students that'll take the train or even the bus into the city for internships or professional experiences. And then Matt, you probably can talk a little bit more about this, but like all the Broadway shows and all the experiences you have in the city, you want to talk about more of the social nature there?
Sure. So not only have I gone into the city just to hang out with friends and see shows and things, but I know that a lot of the trips that are planned by the university go into the city to see museums or Broadway shows and things, just so that we can take advantage of all the resources around us.
Exactly. So this brings us to more of the campus tour feature. I have a few pictures from each campus, and I'm going to have our ambassadors from that campus kind of talk about what the pictures represent and a little bit more insight. So Kristen, do you want to talk about the Metro campus to start off with?
Yeah, okay, so this is the Metro campus. Right now you see the Hackensack River, which is right between Teaneck and Hackensack. This is the footbridge, so students don't have to drive across the campus. They can just walk, and it's basically 5 minutes. It's newly renovated. We renovated it last fall, and before it was just a concrete slab that connected the two sides of campus, but now it's more social, and there's study areas, and it's gorgeous because we have a little bit of flowers there, and it's great to see the sun when it's setting or when it's rising. It's really gorgeous. And now they also have pathway lights, so if you have classes at night and you can't see very well, it's very helpful. It wasn't there before, so really great. So this is my favorite building on campus. It incorporates Alumni Hall at the FDU bookstore and Riverside Cafe, which is one of 3 eateries on campus. In Riverside Cafe, we have a variety of foods from kosher to halal. We also have Freshens, which is a new variety restaurant type food. But this area you can study and you can socialize, and you get a great view of the river, so it's perfect to sit there and look out the big windows. So this is Dickinson Hall. It's the only academic building on the Hackensack side of campus. We have our Silberman Business School here. We have our undergraduate admissions office here. We also have our biology and other chemistry laboratories on the top floor. And we also have our applied sciences and nursing here.
Thank you. So we're going to go into the Florham campus, sorry. So Matt, this is your first picture.
Awesome. So this building is a very historic building on our campus. Our campus is actually part of a Vanderbilt estate. And this was actually their vacation home. So they just came here for a few months out of the year to watch the seasons change. And this was their vacation home on our campus. So this back of the mansion is actually the front of the mansion, historically speaking, but today it is known as the back of the mansion. And it's home to a lot of different classrooms and offices on campus. The Moninger Center is a great study space on campus. It's home to our library as well as our academic support center. FDU is known for having some of the highest academic support hours in the state of New Jersey, which is a really nice perk because it means that they're constantly here to help you if you do need help. And on top of that, we do have great group study spaces and individualized study spaces in this building. The Ferguson Recreation Center is home to most of our sports facilities on campus. In there, we do have our newly renovated cardio and weights gym, as well as our newly renovated dance studio. And in there, we also do have a full-length gym that can be split into 3 smaller ones, and it has a 1/8 mile track above it. The library lawn is a large green space in between the library and the mansion on campus. And this space is used for a lot of different events, specifically family weekend and homecoming weekend. We have a lot of barbecues and things out on this lawn, and then students do like to hang out here and do homework during the semester.
Thank you, Matt. So I do want to just point out our 2 international campuses so you can get an idea of what they look like. This is our Vancouver campus. They specialize in computer science, business, as well as our hotel and restaurant management program. But again, like I said, New Jersey students study abroad there every year. There's about 800 or so students that are actively seeking a degree, but still an amazing option, especially for students who really want to get that Canadian experience. You have a homestay with a Canadian family, or you can have an apartment downtown right next to campus. So a really unique feature there. But our Roxton campus is our most exciting option, our most, I would say, most popular option per se. So Matt, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So I was fortunate enough to study abroad on the Roxton campus this past fall. And in the Roxton campus, this is the Abbey, which is the main building on campus where you live and take a lot of your classes. And the staff is completely British. So you're taught by a completely British staff, so you're fully immersed in their culture. And you do have 3-day weekends there. So on those 3-day weekends, they have trips to the UN, as well as a lot of different plays and museums. And then on top of that, you also do have trips to France and Scotland that are included with the school. And throughout the semester, you do have a 10-day travel break, which is a great opportunity to go around to other countries and take advantage of being in Europe.
Exactly. And keep in mind, beyond these 2 new FDU options, we have partnership universities all over the world. So if you want to go to Denmark, if you want to go to China, we have those partnerships that are available. And the best part about all this is whether you go to a New Jersey a FDU campus or a partnership university, what you're paying in New Jersey for that semester is what you're paying abroad. All your scholarships and financial aid move with you. So definitely something to consider. And most students often do this during their junior year spring semesters. So coming into FDU, you kind of have some time to get your feet wet in the college experience before you go overseas. All right. Kristen, could you talk a little bit about the dining hall and how that works, our food plans and everything?
Yeah. So our dining hall is the largest eatery on campus, in the Metro campus. It's closer to the Linden, so it's more popular. It's where freshmen live. We have more options here. We have walk station, we have a chef, we have buffets, we have salad bars, and we have different nights, like dinners. You can use your Fairleigh 1 card, which is your student ID, mostly like a debit card, but for everyone, you can choose a meal plan. Commuters can even have meal plans. I don't know the exact specifics, but I do know that whichever meal plan, the cheapest for you or the most convenient, is available. There's about 4 different plans, I think.
Exactly. And Matt, do you want to add anything for the Florham side? Is there any certain food stations that are most popular at our Florham campus?
Definitely our walk station is also popular at the Florham campus. It's something that FDU really prides itself on, is giving students the opportunity to have food available to them, whether they have dietary restrictions or not.
Excellent, excellent. And Matt, why don't you tell us a little bit about the first year halls? And our first year halls are very similar on both campuses. They offer very similar amenities. So Matt, why don't you talk a little bit in general about how the first year halls work?
Sure. So the first year halls on the Florham campus are known as the Florence Twombly and the Hamilton Twombly. And these 2 buildings are connected by the Twombly Lounge, which has a large game space for students to use sort of as a rec room. The first year residence halls are doubles, so we don't have forced triples on our campus. And in those rooms, you'll have 2 beds, 2 desks, 2 dressers, 2 chairs, and 2 closets. And each room also does come with an AC. We do have free laundry facilities on our campus, which is a really nice perk. And they do have communal bathrooms in the hallways that are cleaned once a day.
Perfect. Thank you, Matt. All right. And we did get a few questions during the presentation. So one of the questions we received was, how many out-of-state students are at FDU? Any Midwest students? So that's an excellent question. I don't have the exact number of out-of-state students that we have at our campuses, but I will tell you this. We do have pockets of students from all over the nation. So we have students that are coming from the Chicago area. We actually have an admissions counselor who travels there every fall and spring. So we have a very good connection over there. So we have students that are coming from Chicago. We have students that are coming from Florida, Texas. Matt's a good example of someone coming from the New England area. California is very big for us as well. So we have pockets of students coming in, but the majority of our students do end up coming from the tri-state area. So whether it's New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, that's typically where a lot of our students come from, but still you're going to be seeing a lot of out-of-state students and a lot of international students as well. That's something, being a global university and being so close to New York City, you get a lot of students that want to experience that New York lifestyle. So you have that as well. Another question that we got was, how far are we from New York City? To answer that question, the Florham campus is kind of more tucked into New Jersey. So we have a train station that's less than a 10-minute walk from campus. So you can hop on the train and it takes you straight into Penn Station, which is a major transportation hub. And that train ride's about maybe 40 to maybe an hour, depending on the day and the time. From the Metro campus, it's about a 10-minute bus ride, give or take. So Metro is definitely going to be much quicker to get to the city, whereas Florham is going to be just a little bit longer overall, but still very accessible into New York either way. Another question that we got is talking about the admissions process, and that's something I'd be happy to do. I don't have a slide with all the details, but I'll give you some of the details now, and then on our website, it'll give you a little bit more of the nitty-gritty kind of information as well. So overall, in our application process, for our first-time freshmen, we require you to apply, whether it's through our website or through the Common application. And we start receiving applications August 15th, which is when the Common App actually opens. So you can use either format. I always tell students to use our November 15th deadline in your senior year. So if you follow that deadline, November 15th, you'll be able to receive a application fee waiver. So you don't have to pay to apply to FDU if you reach that deadline, and you'll receive a $1,000 applicant grant just for being admitted early on. And then we'll start reviewing you as soon as possible. In order for you to have a completed application, keep in mind that we need to have that application, but we also need to have your high school transcript. That's the most important part. So we look at your grades from your first year all the way until your junior year, and we'll take into account your senior year grades if they're available at the time. With that being said, our average GPA is around a 3.4, all right? But if you have a 3.3 and above, you're not required to submit your SAT or ACT scores. All right, so keep that in mind. We do require your transcript, application, and then those SAT or ACT scores if they're required. So SAT or ACT scores, if you are below that 3.3 GPA, we're going to require them. If you are applying as a nursing major or an education major or a pharmacy student, you're going to also be required to submit your scores regardless of what your GPA might be. Recommendation letters, essays, interviews, these are all optional parts of your application, but I always encourage students to supply them because it allows us as admissions representatives to kind of see you, the applicant, in a different light. All right, so keep that in mind. So I think I kind of answered your questions there about the GPA and all. Another question that we got is I wanted to ask the students how inclusive they feel their class is. Are students with disabilities blending in, or are they feeling like they're in their own bubble? So that's a good question. So how about Kristen, do you want to answer that? Mary, do you want to answer that?
I can answer that, and then we can throw it over to Kristen. But so the answer to that question is yes, students are very, very inclusive. Students at FDU are very kind to all students. And to give you an example, we have a student working in our office from the Compass program. And he's great. I mean, he brings so much joy and he helps out, and you know, we love having him. So from my perspective, yes, students are very, very inclusive to students with disabilities and all students. And like I said, very, very kind. Kristen, do you want to add to that?
Yeah. So one thing I always tell students when they come on our tours is everyone here is nice, and I don't know why. It's friendly. But that's the thing I love about FDU is that people here are genuinely nice. I have a lot of students in my class from the Regional Center of Disabilities, and they have the coolest clubs, and they have their own little like game clubs and computer clubs and stuff, but they're really sweet. And people here are not like, I don't know, it's not conceited. There's no, I don't know, people are just genuine here. That's the thing I fell in love with this school, is that people here, there's a mix of people because there's people from all around the world. So I have friends from Palestine and Pakistan. I've never had friends who were from these countries before, but we all kind of blend in. Nobody sticks with their own cliques. It's not high school. It's a lot more open-minded. So I think students will blend here just fine.
Absolutely.
That's well put, exactly. Another question that we got, are students required to live on campus during the first year? The answer to that is no. We highly encourage you to live on campus. We think it really builds on your college experience. However, for some students, it might not be the best fit. It might be easier to live from home, so we don't require it, all right? Do you have Greek life? That's another question we received, and the answer to that is yes, we do. About 30% or so of our students are active in Greek life. You have to have at least a semester under your belt before you can rush into a fraternity or sorority. And we are non-traditional with our Greek life. So we don't have any Greek rows where you're going to see all the fraternity and sorority houses. Instead, these groups have meeting spaces where they actually host their events and activities. Matt, you are in a fraternity. Why don't you tell us all about your experience in Greek life?
Sure. So I decided to go out for Greek life in my second semester of my first year, which was my first opportunity to go out for it at FDU. And I found that it was a very positive experience for me to be able to be more involved on campus. I met a lot of the friends that I have today in that organization, and we do a lot of things, not just in my major, but also on campus and in the community, because every Greek organization at FDU is required to have a philanthropy and put on fundraising events for that philanthropy, and then also do things for the community in the area.
Thank you. So with that, I'm going to end my portion, and I'm going to have Mary and Pat kind of take it over and talk about the Silverman College of Business, which we want to highlight, and of course there's placements and internships and how you can ultimately get a job after graduation. So Mary?
Yes, thank you, Dennis. I'm going to talk a little bit about the internships and the fabulous companies that hire our students. And then I'm going to show you a quick video. And then I'm going to have Pat talk about our professional development program. And she's going to do a fun little quiz that we're going to have Matt and Kristen play along with. So anyway, one of the things that definitely sets FDU apart is our fabulous internship program. Our students intern at Pfizer, like Dennis mentioned, Barclays, HSBC, Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley, Novartis. We're lucky because a lot of these companies are located a stone's throw away. We're also lucky because we've built relationships with these companies and they see FDU as their core school. So they come and they recruit our students. And students have 3, 4, sometimes 5 internships. The other thing that's really great is most of our internships are paid. Average is $15 an hour, but some interns make up to $25 an hour. It really just depends. And you're probably thinking, why is she talking about internships? I haven't even gotten there yet, but it does go by really quickly. And once you get to FDU, you're going to want to intern because the way you're going to get a job is by having internships, and it's not just one internship anymore. If you want to work for a big company, you have to have internship experience already, which you may think like, wow, how do I get internship experience? We help you do that. We have relationships with so many companies that are close to campus. We talk to you, we find out what you want to do. Maybe you don't want to work for a big company. Maybe you want to work for a startup, or maybe you're an entrepreneur. So we actually work with you and we make that match with the company. So it's really cool. But I'm going to show you a short video. It's of our alum that graduated about 10 years ago, and they're going to talk about their time at FDU and what they're doing with their lives.
Everyone has an idea of what they want to be when they grow up.
When I was little, I thought that maybe I wanted to be a lawyer.
Probably been a professional athlete.
When I was 15 years old, I wanted to own a car detailing shop. I thought I was going to be an entertainment attorney, representing like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys.
I never aspired to be a teacher or a vet or a doctor. I never put much thought into what I wanted to be.
For many, to make their dreams come true, they choose Fairleigh Dickinson University's Silberman College of Business.
Every time I went to visit a college, I always said to my parents, I'm not going to go here until I get that feeling. And I couldn't really describe it, but I knew when I walked onto FDU's campus, I was like, this is where I need to be.
You just feel like you are in like an English countryside. You just have a feeling this is like, I belong here.
And the moment I arrived, I just fell in love with the campus.
And it kind of sold me just from the standpoint of how close it was to Manhattan. And at the time, I was looking to get into the finance world, and I figured, being close to Manhattan was the right kind of opportunity for me.
Baseball was a big part of my upbringing, and when I was trying out for different schools, I got to meet with the coach at the time, and him and I hit it off. We had a really great tryout, and just felt like it was, to this day, one of the best days of my life. At FDU, you'll find small classes, superior instruction, and a clear path for your future.
When I first got accepted into FDU and knew I was going there, I was super excited. I was kind of a teenager, young kid.
Sorry, we're having some technical difficulties with the video. Anyway, I'm going to pivot. I think you guys get the idea. I'm going to throw the ball to Pat, who's going to talk about a professional development program and is also going to play a little game. Pat?
Hi, everyone. How are you? Mary talked to everyone about how important internships are in getting that postgraduate position, but you might be thinking, well, how do I get an internship? I'm like a high school student. How does that happen? Well, we work with you to make that happen. So as Mary talked about, we have the relationships with the firms, but we don't want to just send anyone out to these firms because we want to make sure our students are prepared so they make such a great impression for the next FDU student coming down the road. So those firms keep coming back to us for more and more opportunities. And the way we do that is obviously through the classroom and your academic learning, but our team, we complement that with something we call the Professional Development Program. And through the program, we put on events, we hold workshops, we have guest speakers, we do all kinds of different events. We also do resume reviews, mock interviews, all kinds of stuff, so that we get you ready, so that when you go on that interview, you're confident and you know what to do, and when you actually get the position, that you're well prepared and that you represent FDU and Silberman wonderfully, and you have a great opportunity, which leads to your next opportunity. And then they come back and say, Susie was great, who do you got for me next semester? So that's basically the professional development program, and we make it fun. Like, we go to the city, we did a trip, we called it a Wall Street trip, but we actually went to Midtown also. So we took a group of students and we visited the Bloomberg headquarters, where we met with some of their senior executives. We got a tour. We went to Refinitiv, which used to be called Reuters. It's probably more unrecognizable that way. And then we went downtown and we were guests at the New York Stock Exchange on the floor for the closing bell ceremony. Super cool. So that's kind of an example of some of the things we do. And we have some guest speakers scheduled for the fall. If any of you are ESPN sports enthusiasts, Seth Greenberg is an FDU alum who is a college basketball analyst and broadcaster for ESPN. And he has agreed he's going to be our guest speaker in the fall. He's going to come speak to our students and talk to them about how FDU prepared him for his career and some other career tips and advice in his path. So that's kind of the professional development program in a nutshell. And like Mary said, we're going to just play a quick little game. So I'm sure many of you have played Kahoot before. So if you could just go to the browser on your phone and type in kahoot.it, KAHOOT.IT. And when you get there, if you could enter this PIN code, it'll take you to the game. Kristen and Matt, you can play too, but you'll know all the answers. And actually, we'll see who was paying attention, because a lot of these questions were covered in Dennis's presentation. We didn't even plan it that way, so.
So, Pat, while this is loading up, I do want to just answer one of the questions that came about. One of the questions is, are internships only for the business school? And to answer that question, no. Internships are available for any and all students. What happens is, Pat's just a prime example of one of our amazing specialists who work with students on finding internships. She works exclusively for our business school. However, we have career counselors for any and all of our disciplines. So whether you're a biology major, if you're nursing, or if you're health studies, or if you're computer science like Kristen, there's so many different internships are available with different companies, different organizations, whether it's nonprofit or a major corporation. We have these connections and partnerships to allow you to have these internships. We also have shadowing opportunities, so maybe you want to just get an idea of what it's like in that industry that you're interested in early on. You can do that, and then you can have an internship down the road. There's so many ways to really get involved and get that experience you need.
And I also want to mention, if you're not a business major, you can consider being a business minor.
This is true. Yes. Yes.
I think Matt's a perfect example of that. You said you're a theater major, Matt, with a digital marketing minor?
Yes, I am.
And did you do as a digital marketing minor, an internship is required, correct?
Yes.
Have you done that yet?
I was just hired by Dartmouth-Hitchcock Medical Center to do a marketing campaign for them and create virtual and tangible content for them.
Awesome. Great. All right, I think we're ready to go. This is just for fun, remember, guys. Fun trivia, FDU fun trivia, true or false? Fairleigh Dickinson University is the largest private university in New Jersey. All right. Yes, we are. And I think Dennis covered that. Rutgers is public, guys. Next question. Where is FDU located? This was covered as well. All of the above. As Dennis mentioned, we have campuses in all of these locations. I'm based on the campus in Madison, but do travel to the Metropolitan campus as needed. And we have a team member located on the Metropolitan campus as well. FDU is one of the few schools in the US to field both Division I and III athletic teams, which is kind of cool. Which mascot is your favorite? Ian the Devil or Nitro the Knight? Oh, wow, look at that. Evenly split. Okay, by the way, this is wrong. Apparently, what I looked up is different. So we're not gonna say undergraduate. Forget about undergraduate. FDU has a student population of. My numbers did not gel with yours, Dennis. So yeah, it was, what I had was 8,500 students. So it said undergraduate, but it must have been including graduate.
We keep growing, Pat. It's okay.
That's it. You know, I'm an optimist. Glass half full. What Hollywood feature film was shot at FDU? The Beautiful Mind, Family Stone, Trial of Chicago 7, all of the above. Fun fact. And remember, we have 4 campuses, so. All of the above. A Beautiful Mind is correct, but it was actually all 3 of them. Trial of Chicago 7 hasn't even come out yet. I believe it's scheduled to come out in October. And it was shot this past, when was it, fall? On the Forum campus. And it was super cool. It was in the mansion where our office is, and Mary and I got in trouble more than once for being too loud during a take. Brian Morrow, the campus executive, came in and said, they have to keep retaking it because of you two. I said they should have given us the day off if we weren't allowed to do our work. The mansion located on the Florham campus is the former home of what robber baron descendant? And I think Matt mentioned this. Yes, Vanderbilt. Anderson Cooper never lived there. It was no longer in the family by the time he came around, I guess. But yeah, super cool to be able to work in a mansion, let me tell you. What New Jersey music icon was a surprise guest at FDU's 2018 commencement? This is going to separate the real fans. Go Jersey. We got 2 people at it right, and the answer is, taking a while, Bon Jovi was a surprise guest. And I unfortunately was not there that day. But kind of cool thing. Mary was there. Last question. FDU might be the school for me. Yes, FDU sounds great and I want to learn more about it. No thanks, sounds good, but not for me.
Oh, wow.
Cool. That's
We
what
did our job.
That's what we want to hear. We're here and we know it's a tough decision, but we would love for you to pick us to be. Congrats, Jenna, good job. Oh, Josh. Well, Kristen doesn't count. That doesn't count. All right, so I'm going to stop my share.
That was really cute. I've never heard of that website before. I don't know if that makes me feel really old or young. I can't tell. I do actually have a question, Dennis, about scholarships. What are the scholarship ranges and how do you evaluate scholarships?
That's an excellent question. So we provide merit scholarships through our admissions office. These are scholarships that are need blind, so we're not taking into account financial aid information at that point. So once a student is admitted, you're automatically considered for one of these merit scholarships. Merit scholarships range anywhere from $10,000 a year all the way up to $32,000 a year. And what we do is we base it purely based off of your academic experience. So we look at your GPA, and we also look at the courses that you took in high school. So the students that have more of a rigorous course load with APs, honors, we see that they've done really well, are the kind of students who are going to be receiving that more of the top tier merit scholarship. So when you get admitted to FDU, you'll see what that merit scholarship is, and you'll see that you have to maintain about a 2.5 GPA to have it renewed for all 4 years. So it's in plain sight as soon as you're admitted, but there is no way to pinpoint exactly what merit scholarship you're going to get. It's really based off of your courses you took and your overall GPA.
Okay, and then are there like separate scholarships that students can apply for within FDU if they wanted, even more money?
That's a good question. Yes, so we have that applicant grant that I mentioned. So students who just meet that November 15th deadline are going to be receiving the $1,000 grant that gets renewed for all 4 years. So that's one portion. We also have a scholarship for our students that are interested in our education program. This is something that they apply separately to during their application process right now. And if you apply as an education major, you'll get more notification about that scholarship. So you get admitted to the university first, and then we'll let you know about the scholarship opportunity. There are a lot of other scholarships that are available through FDU, but a lot of these scholarships are technically available for our upperclassmen students. So once you start at FDU, you have more of the capability of receiving these scholarships that might be available. And this is something that you'll find out through our financial aid office, your faculty advisors, staff. We really try to allow you to see everything that's available to you. But for your first year coming into FDU, it's that merit scholarship, the grants, and then of course the financial aid process that'll be really helpful to you.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Well, this was all really helpful. I don't know if anyone has any final remarks. I know that there's a lot of schools within if someone's looking within New Jersey. So I guess, to conclude, what do you think makes FDU so special?
I'll go first. I'm going to make everyone answer this question. The thing I will say about FDU is being that global university, you get to experience so many different people from different cultures and walks of life. But everyone is so friendly, and I think Kristen kind of said it best. They're so friendly, they're so encouraging, and we all want you to succeed. So faculty, staff, your other colleagues that you are going to college with, all these people, they want you to do well. And so I think that's something I see every day at FDU. Everyone has the main focus for success. And you do that by working with each other, and you learn along the way, which is amazing. So Matt, why don't you go next?
Sure. So I think what really makes FDU so special is a lot of the connections that you can make there. I like to think of FDU as sort of an old university with new technology and new dreams, because a lot of what we stand for as a university is very traditional, but we also do have a lot of new connections with different organizations in the area that you can get jobs with after university. And it's just a great resource to be able to make those connections with people.
Kristen?
So I think what makes FDU really special would be, I feel like you get the quality of being in a university. You don't feel like you lost anything or you wasted anything. Like everything you've done in university, whether it's difficult or challenging, and I know for computer science, sometimes I'm just like, why? But we get a lot of support here. That there's a lot of resources for students' mental health, and teachers are always willing to stop by and have me come over in their class and ask them, they ask me how I'm doing, and they always keep up to date with me. That's what I really love is the community too. It's the fact that anybody can really fit in, it's not like you're an outcast. There's something for everyone to do. And like, yeah, you may just be one major, or maybe you just have one focus, but it doesn't have to be the only thing you do. You know, there's so much more. Like, I'm a computer science major, but I play the piano. So sometimes me and a couple of friends go to the library and we jam out. So it's really cool. Much more to do.
Thank you. Mary? We'll go to Pat.
Well, of course, I said I'm based on Florham and I work for Silverman, so that's kind of my perspective. But I think it's a family feel. You know, it's a mid to large university with a very small feel, and we're kind of like a family. And we all look out for each other, and our group work as hard as we can with employers and alumni. We have a great alumni base that are engaged and want to help the next group of FDU students coming through.
Sorry about that. That was a vacuum cleaner you heard in the background. So, in addition to our fabulous faculty, the wonderful students, the administrators, I also want to mention what makes FDU super special is our alum. We have the most amazing alum. Former CEOs, the former CEO of Verizon, the current COO of Wells Fargo, senior vice presidents. I can name so many companies, and they come back to FDU and they speak. I'm sure you all drink coffee. If you ever heard of the Keurig, that the co-inventor of the Keurig is an alum, comes back to FDU. And I think one of our super coolest alum is this guy named Ken Austin, who started NetJets 20 years ago and sold it to Warren Buffett. And then he started Avion Tequila. And now he's in a partnership with Conor McGregor for this new whiskey called Proper 12. And he's in a brand new partnership with The Rock, and they're doing Terramana, it's tequila. So I was on a Zoom with him yesterday, and he's gonna do an event for our alum. He does an event for our students. He comes to campus, he talks. I mean, it's amazing. And he brings gifts. He brings, you know, shakers without the liquor, of course, and hats and t-shirts. And, you know, the alum not only come back and they talk to our students, but they help students with internships and jobs. So I definitely think that's something that sets FDU apart.
Thanks all. I know we have one last question, but Dennis, I don't work for FDU, but I'm pretty sure it's a no. Is the process of looking at people who are trying to enter FDU different if I went to a private school?
You are correct. So we're not going to look at students differently if they went to a private or a public institution. What we're really looking at is your success as a high school student, so the courses you took. And how you did in them. That's going to be the most important part. And I know there was another question about demonstrated interest. To answer that question, during the application process, we don't take into account how many times you visited campus, especially in today's world. It's really hard to get onto campus. So we don't take that into account. However, if we do see you a lot on campus or we talk to you a lot, it allows the admissions counselor to know you a little bit better. So it does help you a little bit in the application process, but it's not like someone who visited campus 5 times is going to have a better chance of getting into FDU as opposed to someone who didn't show up at all.
Thank you, and thanks everyone for being a part of this. Thank you, Mary, for reaching out and reminding me to get FDU on board, because I was building up this whole webinar series and definitely was a good integral piece to it. So we are almost halfway through. After tonight, we have another webinar in an hour, University of Oregon, which is on the other side of the world here, but a lot more to come. So if you guys want to register for more Spotlight Series events, and I look forward to, you know, hopefully getting students back on campus and everything a little bit more in order soon. So thanks everybody for being a part of this, and have a great night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Will.
Bye.